everybody to the World of Railways virtual exhibition part 3, hosted here on the 13th and 14th. For our next segment, I'm joined by James Hilton, founder of Planet Industrials. James, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How's things?
Hi, good to be back, Howard. Thank you. Yes, doing well generally.
Good
apart
stuff.
From apart from the lockdown haircuts now, can't wait for hairdressers to be open again.
Tell me about it. It's terrible, isn't it? Well, that's good to hear. I can see you've got a nice selection of things in the background. But before we come on to those, I'd like to ask you, obviously, our last virtual exhibition, you announced your first ready-to-run steam locomotive in double O gauge. So where are we at? How's things coming along with that?
Yes, we were really excited at the last virtual show to share that with everyone. It's something we'd kept under wraps for such a long time. The energy was really there to sort of share it, and we were absolutely overwhelmed with the support from the general modelling community, and things are going really well. I think we've recently shared on World Railways some of the first shots of the tooling, so we're expecting our engineering sample shortly. Obviously, Chinese New Year always seems to interrupt things for everyone involved in model railways. It's Chinese New Year, like a month's delay. But we've heard from the factory that they're back underway with assembling that prototype. So from a physical point of view, things are going well. One thing we did before Christmas was the livery survey, and that was important for us. We wanted to launch with a product that we were confident with and show people that we were happy. We were building this, come what may. And announcing it tooling. But one thing we were keen on was engaging the sort of general industrial modelling community. And I think the livery survey was our chance to do that. And we had an overwhelming response to that. And it helped us really firm up some of the ideas about what sort of colour schemes to offer. But it was interesting to look at the balance between sort of proto-freelance liveries and real, actual prototypical colour schemes.
Yeah.
And also look at that split on DC to DCC,
right.
and those sort of things there for us that, as you're filling in the survey, you might not have realised, but that was a massive help for us because it's really helped us sort of set the expectation on what we want from the factory. So, so thanks to everyone who's been involved in that, and that's something that we're keen to keep going forward. So we really want to build a community around what we're doing, and we really appreciate people getting involved.
Right. So for those not in the know, this is the Kerr Stewart Victory, a class of, I believe, 10 locomotives, was it?
Yes, 10 were built for the Inland Waterways and Docks Department. A small mouthful, but that was shortly incorporated into the Railway Operating Division, the ROD. And they all saw service during the First World War overseas at various ports. You can imagine the amount of equipment that was being shipped over to support the Allied efforts. But all 10 survived in industrial service for many years back home, if you like. And the last survivor was 68, I think. Well, I haven't got the information right in front of me, but you're talking late 60s. So they saw a long career post-war, and I think that the opportunity to have them either on a prototypical layout or actually, my line or my industry actually bought one of these. I think that proto-freelance element is really important for people as well.
And I believe you've prepared the artwork for is it 4 chosen liveries now? So tell us, how did you go about doing that? I believe it was a bit of a different method that you employed. Yeah,
well, I think, as I said just now about the livery survey did help. Steve and I kept arguing about whether to do East Kent or Francis from Manchester Collieries. And in the end, we've done both. So that's been really interesting to see, because the support for both of those colour schemes was coming through. We also had an open category in that survey, Howard, where we said, if we haven't listed anything in this list, what would you like? And that's been really, really useful, because apart from an industrial livery, blue came out very strong as a contender. We're not doing blue, but we may consider blue for a second run. We're doing IW&D grey, number 12, and then we're doing a generic plain black, and then which obviously is ripe for conversion to anyone's individual livery. Black is the one to go for. And then we've got a lined maroon and a lined green, with subtle variations on the way they're lined. But the the interesting comments around, oh, are you going to do the Great Western ones, and are you going to do the Lambton one with the cut down cab and all these things? Well, we're not just a ready to run manufacturer. We're a strange.
Well, that's interesting because that's something I was going to ask you about, because you are obviously the kit designer for Narrow Planet, manufacturer of industrial locomotive kits. So, is there a possibility that you might design an etched kit, for instance, with the sort of cut down, smoothed out cab to work through those tunnels as fitted to at least one of the prototypes?
Yes, that was the Lambton one. I think the intent will be, well, obviously we know how the thing goes together. The actual tanks and cab are all one piece. So I'm not sure until I've got the sample in my hand as to whether we'll do a complete replacement unit, or whether it'll be you chop the cab off yourself and you fit one. But we're likely to do multimedia kits like we do already.
Okay.
So like we do in the range already with the Hornby packet conversion kits. That's a 3D printed cab with some etched details. What we'd like to do is the same concept. So you get a 3D printed core that is dimensionally accurate and is going to fit, and then some detail overlays. If we can't get the detail into the print, we look at then adding it with flat overlays, for the roof and things. And the idea being that it's a fairly straightforward kit to put together, but looks like it was much more complicated than perhaps it was. So we'll be doing Lambton, and we're also going to do the Great Western ones, because although on the face of it they look really similar, they actually have riveted tanks rather than welded tanks.
Okay.
Well, of course, that's dead straightforward, isn't it? Because it's just a half-etched overlay across the whole tank. So we could do that too, and we'll obviously do the Great Western fittings as probably as lost wax brass castings, so people can convert them. So exciting, because it means that one of the things we're keen on is that this is also a footstep into people perhaps modifying their first ready-to-run model. And perhaps if they're buying into what we're trying to do, they're seeing that we're saying, buy your ready-to-run model, but then once you get bored of it, perhaps buy another one and then modify it. So I think the parallel there, if we're doing cab conversion kits and things for other people, other companies' models, then we should be doing that for our own, shouldn't we? So that's definitely where we're looking at. And of course, it keeps the cost manageable for us because we're quite a small outfit. If we were to tool up all those possible variations, you'd be doubling the price of the tooling costs.
So all this is kind of demanding on you having a sample in your hands physically to be able to do all this for these extras. But let's talk about the sample that you have got in your hands, which I can see just to the side of you there. If you're able to show,
I'll hold it up to the camera. I'll hold it up to the camera, but we'll sort out some photos as well. This is our next kit. We're releasing that this weekend. You can go onto the Light Railway Store's website and buy this kit. It is a Ruston 165 DE, but it's not the early style with the sort of Ruston 48 DS style cab. It's the last style, so it's got larger cab rear windows and a slightly sloping cab front, and in sort of recession to footsteps. The interesting thing about this kit is that it uses the Hornby packet chassis. So I think people would think, you're going to create a kit for the packet, it's going to be a steam engine. But we thought, well, there's an interesting parallel that Ruston actually used or subcontracted to Packet to do the chassis, frames and wheels for a number of these diesel shunters. So, we're doing the same thing. We've subcontracted to the Hornby packets for the
absolutely. Why not?
Effectively, I've got one there's a prototype here. Effectively, what you've got is a 3D printed core, which we know accurately fits onto the chassis with very little modification. And then you've got detailed etched overlays that you add onto the cab and onto the bonnet sides that give you the relief, like the grills and the rivets and things. So hopefully it's a fairly straightforward kit in terms of assembly, and something people have been asking for a while. So we're really excited to get that out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for announcing it here on the virtual exhibition. And if you'd like to see more about this kit, then head to the Narrow Planet website. You'll find all the details there, ready for you to purchase one if you so wish. If you manage to purchase one and you assemble it, feel free to send the photographs in to us at brm@warnersgroup.co.uk, and we'd love to see your efforts in the magazine. And I'm sure James,
as would we.
As would James.
So
that's one of your latest kits that's just been announced. But there's also a partnership with Scale, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. This should be out already to pre-order. This is the Scale MDO. 21.5 ton coal wagon. We were keen to do an industrial livery on this. If you think about this, is a very widespread wagon that saw a lot of use in industrial service after British Rail. And so we've gone for a sort of prototype, but slightly freelance, inspired by Grindthorpe livery of orange and black. What we're going to offer as well is a number transfer pack, so that people could buy perhaps more than one set and then just simply renumber them. And the beauty is, of course, that the actual the number was on a black panel with white lettering, so that's what it'll just be, a little black square of transfer you apply over the top. So we're really excited about those. I've got the sample here, and the actual Accurascale wagon is absolutely superb.
Yeah, it looks
the level of detail.
The livery is bright though, isn't it? I feel like I should be wearing some sunglasses.
Well, I should probably say that you won't need sunglasses with the production models. This is a pre-production sample, and that's why we do them. The orange is too bright, so it's going to be slightly duller and slightly darker than this, but it still will be orange and black. So we've launched our pre-order sales with these now. So yeah, they're on light railway stores as well, and that's something we're really excited about. And I think if anyone then asks the question, well, what are you? Are you a ready-to-run company? Are you a kit company? Are you commissioning? Well, we're doing all of them, because Steve and I are doing this because we love it and we love industrial modelling. And what we're really keen to do is build something that sits around the whole hobby and really fosters it. So whether it's we commission manufacturers to do industrial liveries, whether we see there's a gap and we want to fill that with a ready-to-run model, or whether we see an opportunity for an easy-to-build entry-level kit, whatever it is, we're going to be looking to do that. And I think that's our ethos, really. And hopefully that's what people will be happy to become part of and buy into,
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned, before you asked me any more questions, I've also got some other stuff on here. We've had a few kits in development for a while, and anyone who's liked our page will have seen these all before, but because of COVID and because of our extra supply.
I was going to say, is this your fruits of COVID lockdown?
Well, yes, quite. They're all coming at the same time. It's
Brilliant.
Like buses, isn't it? Yeah. So we've got the this is a Hornby Packet cab conversion. We've done one of these before, but I don't know if you can see that on the video. This one's got a cut down cab, so the foot plate's cut down and the cab's really, really squat. So a lot of people have been asking for this after I did this for myself, because the prototype was down the road at Bersham Colliery in North Wales, but people have been asking for it, so we'll do it as a kit. And we're very, very shortly going to be releasing the Hibbard Planet, which was our first kit, but with the chassis that I talked about last time on the last exhibition. So we've been waiting. A lot of the parts have been made in the UK for this, and some across Europe, but we've subcontracted some of the belts and pulley components to China. So they're on a ship, I'm told. In fact, I suspect they're probably here. It's just getting them through customs. And as soon as we've got those pulleys and belts and stuff, we've got everything else. It's been an absolute mammoth job trying to source all the components together for that chassis kit, because you're not just relying on one or two suppliers. You've got quite a few, especially for a company in our position. So we're really excited, but of course that means we've got 3 kits coming, very closely together. But
things are going to be busy then.
Yeah, Ruston's out this weekend. The packet will probably leave a few weeks, if not a month or so, for people to save back up their pocket money. And then the Planet will be probably later towards the summer, to try and spread that out. And we've got more, because we've got the Clayton as well, which I started years ago. That's using the same chassis. And there's more body kits on the way. We should have a conversion kit for the Hornby Sentinel that's been re-released this year in their range, coming as well. So the kit ideas are there, and it's and now we're getting back up to speed in terms of being able to prototype and push things through. It makes it easier to keep in stock.
It sounds, James, like you've got loads of stuff coming through on the kit side. And obviously you've started on your first ready-to-run double gauge locomotive. But is there something that you might be tempted to dabble in, say, ready-to-run in other scales, N or O, for instance?
Fantastic question, Howard. Thank you. I think it's a really tough one for us. I've said we've always been drawn to doing modelling, Steve and I, what we're interested in. So if we'd have one, it tends to get made as a kit. Or a product, and that's how Victory started. Really, we saw the 7mm version that Minerva had done, and we spoke to Chris Klein, and that's how that kind of started that ball rolling, doing one in 4mm. So I think the answer, the businessman's answer is, well, if we establish there's a market, then why wouldn't we? But whether it's going to be in the short term, it's unlikely to be in the short term. But if people out there, engaged modelers out there or 7mm modelers out there see something in our range and think I'd love to have that, then by all means get in touch, because we don't know what the demand is. It's not our natural interest. We probably need to do quite a lot of legwork in terms of looking at what chassis are available in terms of kit development in that scale. But in terms of ready to run, we need to kind of get a feel for the numbers as to what's feasible. And I think what we're probably likely to do is, what you're probably likely to see from us is another 4mm loco before we go out into another scale, which is exciting, isn't it? But I can't say more. We are business planning, but we haven't got any decisions. Okay. I've got a long list of things I'd love to have, but we're looking at we're investigating that with the factory in China at the moment in terms of scoping up and costing up the next development.
Not even a slight clue as to wheel configuration or.
Well, it's got wheels.
Okay. Well, at least I did try, James. Can't blame me for trying. Well, look, James, thank you very much. Thanks for showing us the latest kits, which are due out soon. If you'd like to get one of the kits, then head to the Narrow Planet website. And for updates on the Kerr Stewart Victory, check out World of Railways. We're always publishing updates as we receive them from James. So, James, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. All the best with your projects, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks, Howard. Cheers. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.